What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good evening, wherever you are, and whatever time it is. Welcome back to another video with your man, Emergaholic. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 13 of my Parthian campaign for the divided Impera over a month for Total War Rome 2. Today, this is episode 13, our grand finale for the Parthian Empire. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like we've finally come to a point where I'm happy to put down the Parthian campaign and end our story. But first, we have to get through the video to get there, so let's get started. First off, let's look at the Bactrian cities that are left. They have the city of Hecatopolis here, which is being besieged by our military allies that we've liberated recently. Down to the southeast, they hold some territory bordering the Indians to the southeast. They have one major city down there, shouldn't be much of a problem. Then to the northeast of that, they have the main core region of Bactria as well, which has Bactria the capital, plus another city to the east of that. And then north of that, they have two other cities that are quite important actually. And then to the northwest, they have the city of Kaf. So they have quite a few cities left. However, they do not seem to have any armies. We haven't found any of them whatsoever. So in the meantime, what is our plan? Our plan is to continue the attack. So General Shah up here is going to cross the river up here shortly to his northeast, take Bukhara, and march on the city Marakanda with our elite Parthian cavalry army. Meanwhile, back to the west, Shah Arsakes II, the Great, the Conqueror, is leading his massive all-infantry army deep into Bactrian territory. And he isn't messing around with any of these outlying provinces. He's going straight for the capital of Bactria. If we take this, then it's it, game over. The Bactrians are out of the game and we have no enemies, at least no major enemies in the east. And that actually is proven in the next turn because we have the Armenians get subjugated by one of our military allies. I've never had this pop up before. It was very cool to see. Let me know if you guys have seen it before, or maybe it's a newer thing I haven't witnessed. But the main thing is that Armenia is now a satrapy of one of our military allies, and that means that we can now declare peace with them, and we're going to do it. We may as well get it over and done with. They're basically out of the game anyway. In the meantime, General Fishtaspa continues his march on Bukhara. He recruits some Indian elephants. We didn't fight this battle in Bengali though, it just wasn't needed. We're pretty safe as long as there isn't any surprising armies coming out of the fog of war. So I'm just going to be a little bit risky and start doing some order resolve. So we order resolve here. We defeat the garrison pretty easily, although we do take a fair few casualties, especially compared to if I was fighting the battle. Plus our elephants get decimated, so that's a little scary. We might end up losing our Syrian elephants, but it's not the end of the world.
We fight for you, my lord.
So now that General Fishtaspa has Bukhara, he's going to continue his march down into Marakanda. There's absolutely no time to waste. We need to continue hitting the Bactrians hard before they can recruit an army and stop our very rapid advance. Meanwhile, down here in the southeast, our Indian and Arab allies have actually defeated the Bactrians down here. There's no Bactrian armies. They've lost their city down here. And they also have a city to the east of it getting besieged. Hecatopolis was also taken as well by our allies. So basically, within just a few turns here that I've cut out, we're seeing a massive swath of Bactrian territory fall into our allies' hands. And we'll actually go here to the tab overview screen, where you guys can see that even though this is kind of ugly with the border gore, you can see we have our territory spread out as we're the purple. However, if we go to the diplomatic status, it's a ocean of blue around us, and all of that blue means all of those areas belong to military allies, so we are very influential still. In the meantime, Shah Arsakes is now just outside the city of Bactria. He's ready to besiege it. We have our scouts and spies continuing to search the Bactrian territory, but their armies are nowhere to be seen, and we're hearing nothing but good news from the south. The Bactrian cities are falling. This is amazing news. This is what we've been wanting to hear since turn 1 of this campaign, when the Bactrians drove us from our homeland of Parthia. Finally, Shah Arsakes leads the siege on the capital. He's going to have to besiege it for a few months though. He needs some siege equipment. This is a very large garrison with a major city defense. It's going to be hard to take, and even though he has some excellent troops, he might not be able to do it with it. So we're gonna try and wait a few months, get some siege equipment set up, and we'll even force some Bactrian mercenaries and Indian elephants to get in on the action against the Bactrians themselves. In the meantime, General Fish-Daspa is continuing his assault on the northern province held by Bactria. He assaults the city of Barakanda, and we just auto-resolve it away. We could have thought it, but we have a massive siege coming up anyway, so I hope you guys understand why we did it. But the main thing is that we are wiping out Bactria. We're demolishing them. This is going so well. It's so nice to say. It's a weight off my chest almost to say how it's good that we're doing good against Bactria. In the meantime, Bactria actually comes groveling for peace. They only have 2 cities now, although 3 technically. They have 2 major cities and 1 minor city. We're besieging their capital, and they send a diplomat out of the city walls to the Shah himself. They beg for peace. However, they still refuse to become a satrapy of the great Parthian Empire, and Shah Arsakis absolutely cannot tolerate anything less but total subjugation of the Bactrians. Our history with them is long and bloody and brutal, and Shah Arsakis II remembers that more than any other Shah in Parthian history. General Fish-Daspa comes down and aids the assault on the city of Bactria by killing an army that was just outside of it. It was a very small army that were trying to recruit some troops to help the garrison, but we managed to besiege the city. Meanwhile, General Fish-Daspa led his cavalry to wipe out the reinforcements. So now, General Fish-Daspa will continue moving east with his elite cavalry. Meanwhile, Shah Arsakis will continue with the siege on the capital. We just have this one little town here to the east that has gold as a resource actually, so it's a very valuable town. But the main thing is that it's a last little holdout of Bactrian authority, so we do need to squash it, and we will. But in the meantime, now the time has come. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the assault of Bactria. Shah Arsakis is now finally, after all these years, getting the Parthian revenge on the Bactrians. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do this last, final siege for our Parthian Empire campaign. And here we are at the city of Bactria. Massive city, very tall walls, thick defenses, very large garrison. It is a massive and very impressive city. The Bactrians have built their wealth off the backs of Parthian slaves and many other Easterners. The Bactrians do not belong here, and it is evident in their disgustingly Greek and over-the-top marketplaces, temples, gathering places, housing, all of these things that they have forced on the Easterners, all of this Greek culture. Shah Arsakis cannot stand the thought of it, and he must stomp it out entirely. They have a massive city here before us, so multiple districts, a market area. They have massive residential districts, recreational areas. This is a very impressive city, and like I said, they've made their money off the back of the Parthians. So Shah Arsakis plans to raze this to the ground, of course, but in the center we do have a very large citadel that will be tough to crack. But you can see just how massive this wall is going from east to west here. It is very much insane, and if they had a larger garrison here in addition to their main garrison, it would be a massive issue. But I think we can handle this siege, but we'll have to try and see how it goes. Here we can see some images of the royal palace of Bactria, though. It's led by a king, even though they're Greek. So these Greeks have built themselves a massive palace here with 2 massive flights of staircases. The staircase to the Bactrian heaven. As we make our way up it, we go to the left here. We see a large open passage guarded by massive towers of defense. And then in the center is a statue to Athena herself. And the Bactrian flag flies high for one last time as the sun sets behind it. Shah Arsakis will ensure that the Parthian flag is up there by the end of the day. And he's doing that very, very well. He begins the siege by directly assaulting all across the entire wall. We have ladders, we have siege equipment, we have fire arrows raining down on the enemy. All the meanwhile, our elite axemen and swordsmen are getting in there and getting involved. and charging directly onto the walls. Before they even get there though, we have large portions of the enemy army being decimated by our archers. We're doing massive concentrated alleys of fire, and it's dealing devastating damage to them. Even though they have large shields, they're just not prepared to take such disciplined targeting. Here comes our siege towers now. We even have military allies aiding us. That's the cavalry in the rear that you can see. They are extremely keen to help plunder the city of Bactria, probably just to get wealth for themselves, but we don't care. We're here to see the Bactrians ended. And here it is, with the first men of Parthia into the capital itself, jumping down onto the walls. These are the first brave souls into the Bactrian capital. As that begins, we have other towers and ladders getting in close. Just as our allied cavalry comes in and begins to help us take down the main gate, we'll be doing an entire all-out assault here. We're not holding back and just concentrating in one little place. We do have some Bactrian elite hoplites, so up on this section of the wall, we do have multiple ladders and towers coming in to flank them, but it will be a very grindy, bloody battle. Our men definitely have the work cut out for them. The melee begins, and it is absolutely savage. The Bactrians are definitely holding firm as much as possible anyway. They can't fight in their hoplite formation though, so our men will eventually win out there. However, if Shah Arsakis II was known for one thing, it would be this, that he is one to lead from the front. And here he is climbing up a ladder that he pushed himself with his own bare hands up to the wall, and he is now diving on in and getting involved, leading the Parthian assault on the city from the front. He's even diving into the melee, trying to push his way to the front, but things are incredibly chaotic. There is not a lot of tactics here. It's just up to skill and overwhelming numbers, and that's exactly what Parthia has right now. We end up clearing the majority of the wall very quickly. We even have the gate set on fire. You can see it burning down below. And the Bactrian troops are trying to hold us at the gate here. They're trying to send men back up the stairwells and to stop us in the towers. However, it's just not enough, and our Parthian men will continue their heavy push. Even here on the far left-hand side of our flank, we have our Parthian men-at-arms getting hit by cavalry, so we need to try and make a breakthrough at the gate. Meanwhile, the wall is entirely under our control. It's just the main gate itself is not yet. So Shah Arsakis is going to lead a direct assault down below, try to clear out the gate causeway. If we can do that, then the Bactrian garrison will almost surely surrender. If they lose their main gate, then they have nothing. And here he is. Shah Arsakis is at the far left of the screen here, pushing forward into the enemy elite hoplites. His personal bodyguard is tanking massive amounts of damage, but he's trying to inspire his men to lead from the front. We do have our Persian allies coming in on their cavalry though, and they're actually breaking through the main gate, so hopefully that will help distract some of the enemy cavalry and tie them up while we continue pushing forward. However, Shah Arsakis is now in trouble. He's actually on the far left of his own formation. He's separated from most of his personal bodyguards. He has two that are close, but they're actually getting cut down right before him. He needs to try and hold out, otherwise his hoplites might actually corner him and kill him right here and right now, which would be disastrous. We can't afford to lose a Shah, at least not so early in the siege, otherwise all the men will lose heart. He ends up losing his two personal bodyguards, and he's still trying to hold out, but he's getting pushed back quite literally. But then, just in time, the Indian elephants get involved and come in and save the day. Somehow, the enemy formation of hoplites gets decimated from behind. It does take a few moments, but eventually they end up routing completely off the battlefield, and Shah Arsakis is saved by the elephants of Parthia. He does need to take a few moments to recover, but that's fair enough. He's been killing dozens of men. Rumor has it that he even killed over 100 men with his own bare hands. But then he does not have too much time to rest. He continues assaulting the city down the main road right here. He's charging forward alone, just with him and his elephants. His elephants are in front of his formation here. There's the Persian cavalry on the right, engaging some of the Bactrian hoplites. That's okay, they're tying up enemy infantry, while Shah Arsakis is going absolutely dead fast straight towards the Bactrian palace. He's not going to let that Bactrian king get away. He absolutely has to make sure that he kills him, or at least that the king doesn't escape. The elephants are even ordered to stand aside while Shah Arsakis leads his personal bodyguard, his personal retinue, his most trusted and hardened warriors to the front. They go up the stairways, and now they're passing through the main gateway to the Bactrian royal palace. And in the distance, we can see the last, final unit of Bactria, their elite royal hoplites. We're taking fire from the enemy towers here, though, and they're going to be dealing some damage to our elephants. Shah moves his men forward. He has them release just a few more volleys of arrows, since they are technically a cataphract horse archer unit. They fire their arrows in. They try to disrupt the hoplite formation, but these hoplites are elite. They are the best that Bactria has to offer, and after catching his breath for just a few more times, Shah knows that it's time to get involved and it's time to put Bactria down for good. He leads the charge to the roar of his personal retinue, who are all incredibly pumped up and ready to go. They're ready to end this war now. Shah is leading from the front with his white flower shield, his sword in hand, and the elite hoplites receive the charge incredibly well. The melee gets incredibly chaotic very, very quickly. The hoplites begin to lose their formation when they see the Shah at the front. They try to push forward and kill him. His bodyguards are falling down all around him. Shah is absolutely exhausted. Things are getting incredibly chaotic. He just needs to hang on a little bit longer until the elephants flank the enemy formation. However, just before they do, all of his retinue looks towards the Shah as a spear lunges out towards him, and he falls. Nobody knows what's happened. Is he dead? Did the spear actually pierce him? What's going on? The fighting gets more and more desperate, but then as time goes on, his personal bodyguards look and see Shah is dying right before their eyes. And with that, they slaughter the garrison and the entire city to a man. Bactria, ladies and gentlemen, is no more. A massive funeral dedicated to the Shah, greater than any before him, was done in complete silence, for nothing could be said to capture the greatness of Arsakes, the second of the Parthian Empire. King of kings, but still just a man like us all. And ladies and gentlemen, that is where we end the Parthian story. I know I could keep playing the campaign a little bit longer and maybe go and fight Rome and stuff, but the bottom line is, at this point in the campaign, now that we've defeated Bactria, we are just way too powerful to fail. And to be honest, I just feel like this is a good spot to end the story of the Arsakid dynasty. I really hope you guys enjoyed learning and enjoying all the drama of the Shahs and what's happened, our assassination of Shah Arsakes I. That was some of the most dramatic moments in my Total War gaming I've ever done, and so I'm just so happy I got to share the story with you all. This is probably the most attached I've been to any campaign, and I've absolutely loved it. However, ladies and gentlemen, this is not where things end for us. We do have more campaigns coming. We have a massive one I have planned that we'll be starting up in the next few weeks. Then I also have a nice little surprise side project for you guys that I think you're all going to really, really enjoy. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for now. If you do want to know what faction we're playing next, I highly recommend you check out the Discord. Link will be in the description as always. There, we just finished our voting on the next faction for DEI, so go in there, check it out, and join and get involved. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for joining me on this campaign. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I shall see you in the next one.